Len, thank you. Let me go straight back to Alan Johnson in Hull. Alan Johnson, how much will George Galloway's victory increase the pressure on Ed Miliband's leadership of your party?
I don't think it had anything to do with Ed Miliband. You heard there from the solicitor, he's the anti-war candidate. It was a one-off. George Galloway apparently is a devout Muslim, which is news to us who were with him when he was in the Labour Party. But this is a one-off. They can't replicate George Galloway. And just as his victory in Tower Hamlets didn't lead to an increase in respect MPs, there was a minor increase in local government, and then it faded away when George left. So this is very much a one-off. It has nothing at all to do with Ed Miliband. Ed has said it's his responsibility. There's lessons to be learnt. But look, let's move on to the big issues of the last week, which is, if you set it to music, it would be called Send in the Clowns.
Is it time to move on, Jason McCartney?
Yeah, we are moving on already, actually, and all the Conservative MPs across Yorkshire, Humber and Lincolnshire have been working hard throughout this Easter break already. I was out and about in my constituency on Friday, school Easter service in the morning, meeting a young lad about graffiti, opening a new dye house, textile dye house on Friday.
Is it time to move on?
Yeah, we are doing. We're working really hard on the ground, as Alan said, on the issues that really matter, about finding jobs for our young people, training, transport infrastructure. We're going to have the Humber Bridge in a moment. And these are the things that we'll be judged on in 2015 if we've made people's lives better.
Mohammed Shafiq, it seems to me that the campaign was largely fought along the issues of the war in Afghanistan and Iraq, an issue from almost 10 years ago. It almost seems detached from mainstream politics.
Well, if you just look at Alan's answer, it shows you the arrogance of the Labour Party, that they try to belittle George Galloway's victory here. This was a political tsunami, and you see the Labour establishment out to, along with media commentators, to belittle George Galloway. The Labour Party have to reflect on their failure. It is a test of Ed Miliband's leadership. Ed Miliband was coming up to Bradford for his victory parade at 7:30 the following morning. Obviously, that didn't happen. So I think all political parties have a duty to reflect on this, to see what happens, rather than going and making cheap political points on the expense of George Galloway.
Alan Johnson, you can't get away from the fact this was seen as a largely safe Labour seat. And this is a real hammer blow to your party, isn't it?
I think I said at the beginning that we have to be magnanimous about this. This was a really extraordinary victory by George Galloway. He has tremendous powers of oratory. Having said all that, is it indicative of a sea change in British politics? Of course it isn't. George Galloway came into Parliament as a Labour MP by beating Roy Jenkins in Hillhead in Glasgow in '87. And Roy Jenkins' victory, Roy Jenkins winning in Glasgow, was for a moment, that was the SDP at their high point in the early '80s. So George Galloway, beyond anyone else, actually knows how these things fizzle out if it's just a kind of one-off by-election result. And this was a one-off by-election result.
Jason McCartney, will George Galloway be a welcome addition to the House of Commons? It's often said there aren't many characters in politics these days. Would you welcome him with open arms?
Oh, we've got lots of good characters already on my side. Alan's a good character here, coming with a real-life background as well. Myself in the military, Alan was a postman as well. I hope, actually, he's going to be a really good MP for Bradford. The people of Bradford deserve a good Member of Parliament. I wonder how many of those that actually voted for number 2 on the ballot paper, not even knowing the name of the candidate, actually know that the last time when he was in Parliament, he actually only attended 8% of the votes. I wonder if they actually realise that. I hope he will be a good voice for Bradford, but I fear maybe not.
Mohammed Shafiq, how much can he do for Bradford? I mean, in his victory tweet, I think he said, "Long live Iraq, long live Palestine." I mean, he's got his eye on some much bigger issues here, hasn't he?
Well, those issues resonate with young Muslims in Bradford. You look at the illegal war in Iraq, started by Labour Party, encouraged by the Conservative Party. Then there's the issue of Afghanistan. We've seen brave men and women of our army being killed by the Taliban in Afghanistan, when clearly there is no chance of success of that, and people want to bring the troops back home, majority British people. And then there's the injustice of Palestine. On all these issues, George Galloway resonated with the public. And actually there's another thing. He wasn't a Muslim candidate. It was the Labour Party candidate that was putting stuff out saying, vote for me because I'm the Muslim, vote for me because I'm the Pakistani. And actually George Galloway was actually winning in the white areas. I was there to count, seeing the boxes open in Clayton, in Heaton and in Thornton area wards, where Galloway was even winning in them.
We're going to have to bring this to a close. I'm sure we're going to hear a lot more about George Galloway and co in the weeks and months to come. Mohammed Shafiq, thanks very much.